Oh, please. Okay, so we're learning the Maimer Vayihyu Chayei Sarah Tafshin Nun Aleph, and we'll make a quick synopsis of the points that we learned in the Maimer up until now. So here we go. It says in the pasuk Vayihyu Chayei Sarah Meya Shana V'Sheva Shanim V'Esim Shana V'Sheva Shanim Shnei Chayei Sarah. In Mamorim they ask, why does it say Meya Shana Lashon Yachid V'Esim Shana Lashon Yachid? When it comes to Shanim, you say Lashon Tesheva, you say Lashon Rabin. The second ukuda is, why do you repeat Shnei Chayei Sarah? And the third thing that he asks is, what's the Hira? Vayihyu Chayei Sarah, the Torah is telling us a piece of a story about Sarah. This was the amount of years. This was how old she was when she passed away. What's the Hira in this to every one of us at every time? Okay. So to explain that, we start explaining that this pasuk, Meya Shana, Ve'esim Shana, Ve'Sheva Shanim, includes in it the ganze Seder Hishtalshelus, all of creation, even higher than Hishtalshelus, and it includes in it also the entire makeup of the Nefesh Adam. How is that? He explains it according to a Zohar. We won't get into the whole Arichis, but Meya Shana is Keser, in Seder Hishtalshelus it's Keser, in Nefesh Adam it's Ratzin and Tainuk. Esim Shana is Moichin, Chachma, and Binah, and Sheva Shanim is Midas. But the Zohar also says that the Meya over here is the whole idea of the Klola de Kula. It's the entire Aveda over here. This pasuk is the entire Aveda, and he says that it has to do something with Meya Brachas. Okay. And then you have also the idea of Shnei Chayei Sarah. In the end of the pasuk, you have Shnei Chayei Sarah. It's already another level. So he asks, L'chora Shnei Chayei Sarah in the Pashtus HaKasav is a reference to the 127 years themselves, right? You say Shnei Chayei Sarah. What was Shnei Chayei Sarah? It's not a new Indian. 127 years, that was the life of Sarah. But according to the Bir in the Drushim and in the Zohar, it sounds like the Shnei Chayei Sarah, Lavdavka in the Zohar, upon him in the Drushim, it sounds like the Shnei Chayei Sarah is yet a new Maila. Another question he has is, why, according to the Zohar, Meya is a higher Maila than Esrim, and Esrim is a higher Maila than Sheva, whereas in Pirush HaPashut, or in the Pirush of Rashi, he explains that Sheva is the highest level, right? Meya was as good as 20. In other words, 20 is better. And 20 was as good as 7. In other words, 7 is better. Right there he asks. Okay, that's the end of the question. So he says like this. What's the idea? What does the Zohar mean when he says that Meya Shana is Klala Dekula? And that it has to do with the Meya Brachas. Okay, what does 100 have to do with Klal Dekula? What does 100 brachas have to do with Klal? How does that represent and how does that encompass the entire Aveda of a Yid during his entire lifetime and the entire Seder Hishtalshelus, what he has to accomplish in the entire Seder Hishtalshelus? So he says like this. First of all, you have to know that Meya Shana is nimshach into everything. It's nimshach into Esim Shana, it's nimshach into the Midas, into the Meichin, and it's nimshach into the Midas. Okay? That's the first akdama that you have to know. And then we get to Meya Brachas. So he says like this, and we're going to finish the synopsis with this, and then hopefully we'll get to a Seder Mitzvah in the Maimer. So he says like this, what's the idea of a bracha? And why does the bracha represent the entire Aveda of a Yid in this world, and the entire Aveda of the whole Bria, of the whole creation of the world? Because what do we say in a bracha? We say, Baruch Ata Hashem, Baruch Zinin of Amshach, we're Mamshich, the Madrega of Havaya, that it shouldn't remain only L'mayla and the Elam Yisraelim. We want to be Mamshich. And what's the Seder? We achieve that from Havaya should become a Likenu. That our Kayach, a Yid feels that his Kayach is not a natural Kayach. It's not a Kayach that's born, that comes from the natural world, from his body and from his eating and from his nefesh, which could also be a natural phenomena. He understands that his Kayach doesn't come from any of that. His Kayach comes from where? From Havaya. So that's the first madreg, that's the first step in being Mamshech Havaya into the world, is you have to bring about that it should be Baruch Ata Havaya Lekeinu, that a Yid should feel that what's my Kayach, what's my Chayas is Havaya. You megala Havaya within the Yid himself. That's the first thing. And then once a Yid is megala Havaya within himself, that by him it shines and he feels and he's aware and he lives with this Nakuda, that his Kayach is Havaya, not his own natural Kayach, it's the Eibishter. So from that comes Melech HaElam becomes that the Eibishter also becomes revealed and king over the entire world. He says that this idea is especially emphasized in brachas. In other words, this idea of Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam is especially emphasized in brachas. Why? Because all brachas we make on things that are connected to this world, starting from in the least of a connection, but still a very strong connection in mitzvahs. We make a bracha on a mitzvah. Most mitzvahs, or probably all mitzvahs, are connected with gashmistic things. Yeah. Which mitzvahs are lavdafka connected with gashmistic things completely? Maybe the mitzvah of Ava and Yira. We don't make a bracha on Ava and Yira. I don't think so. Do we? I'm not aware of it. Huh? That's Bichas Kriyashma. Kriyashma. Kriyashma is a mitzvah. Kimas Spasov Ave Maisa Gang. We're giving a summary of Hey, and then we're going to start at Vav. Okay. So that's with mitzvahs. You make a bracha on a mitzvah of a lulav and esek, tefillin, a mezuzah, v'chulu. And then, in addition to that, you also have the mitzvahs of a kashas tzracha, where somebody requests for his needs, or birchas hanenin, where he thanks Hashem for the things that he gets delight from, that he enjoys. But it's most expressed in birchas hanenin that you make on food and drink. Why is it most expressed in birchas hanenin that you make on food and drink? Because we find an interesting Ma'amar Chazal when it comes to Inyani Elam Haza in eating and drinking. It says like this: that's not anybody who derives pleasure from Elam Haza without a bracha, so it's like he's stealing from the Eibishter. That's what it says. It's like he's stealing from the Eibishter. He makes a bracha, so now it becomes his. And Rebbe points out that's not chas v'shalom to say that by making a bracha we remove these inyanim from the territory, from the property of the Eibishter, and we make it ours, because that's a chas v'shalom. What's the chiddush over here? We're being mevatel the kedusha that's in the food. That's an accomplishment. Now the Gemara says you're okay. Before it was holy, so you couldn't eat it. Make a bracha, take out the holiness in it, and now you're okay. The Rebbe says on that chas v'shalom. Nervous. When a yid makes a bracha, in other words, by him eating this physical food, he's being mamshich, elikus, into the food, and into the world through the food. Why? Because he's being mevarer the food. So now his achille shaloi, katzei shemayim, the work of the Eibishter is shaloi, is his work. He's doing the work of katzei shemayim. He's being mamshich elikus in the world. So he's doing Hashem's work, not his. So if a yid chas v'shalom eats food without a bracha, what's he doing? He's doing his own work. So he took the Eibishter's property. He took the Eibishter's meat and the Eibishter's mezenis and the Eibishter's water. And what did he do? He used it for himself, for his own pleasure, for his own enjoyment, for his own benefit. He didn't make a bracha. Mashenka, when a yid makes a bracha, what's he doing? He's Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech HaOlam, is being mamshich elikus into the world through being mamshich elikus into the food, because he refines the food, and now there could be amshach elikus into the food. So what happens now? He's not eating for his own benefit. He's doing katzei shemayim. He's doing the work of the Eibishter when he eats. And that's why the Zohar says that Mea Shana, which is the idea of 100, is Klola Dekula, is Klolos Kol HaAveda, is the entire, it encompasses the entire Aveda of a Yid, and that's the inyan of Mea Brachas. Because what's the Aveda of a Yid in this world? What's the whole Aveda? Why did Hashem make the entire world and people in it and gave them different jobs? What's the whole Aveda? Is to be mamshich elikus lamata, to make a dira leisbarach b'tachtenim. And the bracha, the idea of Mea Brachas, is this inyan, is the inyan of being mamshich elikus into the world. Okay, so ad kan bir azayah. But we have a lot of questions remaining. Shnei Chayei Sarah, is it something separate from the 127, or is it not? What's higher? Is Mea higher or is Sheva higher? What's the hero to all of us? Okay, so in order to be able to understand that, now the Rebbe goes weiter. We'll focus really. The Rebbe is going to explain what's the idea of Shnei Chayei Sarah. So let's see. Okay.
So now we begin Vav?
Yes. Very interesting what he brings out. He says this. Sarah says that in Sarah you have to have a very more place in Russia. So he says by Russia, he says the days of his life fill him. However, by Sarah Imenu, he says she filled the days with kedusha.
Mm.
So that's what the Shnei day or the Shnei Chayei Sarah. They were her years.
Yeah,
She
yeah, yeah,
filled
yeah,
them with
yeah,
kedusha.
yeah, yeah. A similar idea is discussed in Mamorim also. Yeah. Okay. So until now, what do we have? We have that there's this aveda of being mamshech likus lamata. In other words, you have to take the highest madrigas. You have to take the meir. You have to take the keser. You have to take the meichin. You have to be mamshech all into midas. And really, through brachas, we see that we have to also be at mamshech down into this world. So come out according to this that it seems that there's something negative happening over here. We're taking the Halakha and Yonim and we're bringing them down into a lowly world, into a Gashmistika world. So l'chura, emes, we have to do it for some reason. Cite whatever reason you want. I don't know why. There's a reason why you have to do it. It's necessary. But what's happening b'poel mamish? We're taking Meah, we're taking Kesser, we're taking Tainigan Rotzen, we're taking Meichin, taking Seichel, and we're being mamshich not only into Midas, but we're then taking all three of them all together, and we're being get mamshich into a Gashmistika Welt. So the it's of Yerida. So that we're going to understand with Kulon Sham, with Shnei Chayei Sarah and Kulon Sham and Lateva, as Deb is going to explain over here now. He's going to address that. By drawing down the highest level, the Meyashana, into Meichin, into the next level. Not Stam Meichin, but Meichin, the way they're Shaykh to Midas. And then, which is Esim Shana, and then we take it a level even lower, and then we take it even lower, where we draw down these highest levels into an even lower place. Until we draw down into Maisa B'Pel, in other words, into Gashmistika actions. Why? In order to accomplish a revelation of Elikus in the world. So what do we have over Mitzad Echad? The world gained. The world gained. You have Gil Elikus in the world. So there's a Meiler. But Mitzad the Meya Shana, what happened to the Keser? And what happened to the Meichin? And what happened to the Midas? They had a tremendous Yerida. So we gained a Gil Elikus in the Gashmistika world, but there's a Yerida for those Madeigs. The Rebbe says no. Oh, very good. That's the first Nakuda. Yes, correct. That's the first Nakuda. So let's see right over here. So it says like this. In addition to the fact that we refine and we purify the lower levels, but it's not really a true Yerida for the Elyonim. Why? Because there's also a Mila that's accomplished. There's an advantage, something that's achieved by the Meya Shana, and also by the next Madigs, by the Esim Shana, the Pashtas, and the Shev Shana, because that's it's known through this that the higher level lowers itself in order to give sustenance, life, chayis to the Tachtin. So Mikabel Gam Ha'elin Milas HaTachtin. So then the higher level also gets certain advantages that it doesn't have, that after the lower level has. Again, the Rebbe doesn't go into the details. It just has a kiyudu and is mitzayin to other places where you could check. So we won't get into it. But the basic idea is either mitzad the shadish of the tachtenim, or mitzad the Mesiras Nefesh that you have to have when you work with the tachtenim. But there are certain milas that you have when you're dafka working in a very low place. For a multitude of reasons that's explained in many places. There's certain milas. The Elyon doesn't have it because he's Elyon. As an Elyon, he can never have the mila of tshuva, let's say. The Elyon can never have it. The Elyon was never separate from Elikus, that he should have the mila of tshuva. There's many milas that the Elyon can achieve by coming down. So it's not a complete Yerida, because like you said, it's a Yerida Tzerech Aliyah. The Meya Shana, the highest level, the Keser, the Ratz, and the Tain, it comes down, and for the world, it's Peil a Gila Elikus and a Birin and a Zicha, but for itself, it's also Peil and Aliyah. So it's not a Yerida for the Elyon. Okay? So that's on the first level. And in the parentheses, I says, Shulchan Kol Seder, and in fact, this is not just a technicality on the side. This is actually something that's built into the fabric of the world itself, including Seder Shtalshus, including the Elam Yisrael, that the entire system was made in that the highest levels are connected much more, or not much more, but let's say their nodes, they're stuck there, as I anchored. Okay, let's say it's not anchored, has a different meaning, but the point is that they are attached and very strongly connected after to the lowest level, because the lowest level has in it some mila that the highest level needs, and that's why they're very connected, and that's an integral part of the entire creation. So that's the first thing. So in the first pirish, we still have a Yerida. It's still a Yerida. Narvas, it's a Yerida Tzerech Aliyah. The Yerida is not a negative thing because through that we accomplish something greater. The Yeseda Mizaver, the Ebbet says there's a whole other level to talk about over here. Something much more than that. Why are we mamshich elikus lamata? We're not mamshich elikus lamata for a side technical reason. In other words, it's not pshat that we have rachmanus on the tachtenim, and we want to say that there's poor humanity and there's a poor world. That's not like the elyenim, the spiritual worlds, and it's not like the malachim. Narvas, we're going to have rachmanus on them, and we're going to also give them a little bit of a gilui likus. That was how we understood it initially, that we're going to cause a gilui likus in this world. If that's the story, then it's the most you can have is that it's a Yerida Tzerech Aliyah. But David says over here, it's not about rachmanus on the tachtenim, and it's also not about any other technical reason. It's not because to end the golus or whatever it is that we're being mamshech elikus lamata. No. This is what Atzmus wants. Atzmus wants a gilui v'likus in this world. To say so, we're doing it because that's what, at the deepest level that we could possibly imagine by the Eibishter, that's what's important to him. That's the job that he gave us. That's what he told us to do. So if that's why we're doing it, Legabe Atzmus, is there an Elyon and a Tachten? There's no Elyon and Tachten. In other words, it's not saying for Atzmus it's worth it to do it. So for Atzmus, okay, I'll go down to a lower level. He says, no. By Atzmus, there's no Elyon and Tachten. This whole concept of a higher level and a lower level is only when you get far away from Atzmus, when you have Giluyim, when you have a Hispashtus from Atzmus. By the Eibishter, everything is Achtus Pshuta. It's all one thing. Is there anything that's outside of the Eibishter? Chas v'shalom, nothing is outside of the Eibishter. Is there anything that's less connected, that is not part of the Eibishter? Chas v'shalom. Everything is equally part of the Eibishter. So when you do an Aved in the Tachten, it's Bechlal not a Yerida. We'll get to the Aved part in a moment. But when you're Mamshech Keser into this world, why? And you're doing it because that's the Kavanas Atzmus. It's not a Yerida, because the world is not a Yerida Lagabe Atzmus. Atzmus finds himself equally in this world. You're fulfilling the Kavanah of Atzmus. Atzmus is beyond any description and any classification, characterization. Therefore, the upper worlds, the lower worlds, Bligvul, Ugvul, worlds of Ein Sof, worlds of Agbala, Shamin Mamash. So, according to this Pirish, it's not a Yerida Tzerech Aliyah. In the standard army, it's not a Yerida, it's much better than a Yerida Tzerech Aliyah. There is no Yerida in the first place, because this act of revealing godliness in this world is connected to what? To the essence of the Eibishter. To the essence of the Eibishter, there is no Tachten. The essence of the Eibishter encompasses within himself the Tachten also. He's there just as much. Just as much. Not he's also there. He's there just as much. So when you're doing Aveda for Atzmus, when you're Mamshech Elikus Lamata for Atzmus, it's not a Yerida. The whole place is his place. The whole thing is him. Okay. Now, the next part is we could forget about it for nights, really. So all I'll say is that to try and listen and pay attention to the next part with every day of your life, every day that you lived in this world, and you were busy with so many things that you had to do in this world. So try to listen to the next part of what the Rebbe says with that. Okay, with them. Okay, let's see. What's the difference to the Aveda of a Yid? If we're going to say that it's a Yerida Tzerech Aliyah, if we're going to say no, in Tzad Atzmus there is no Elyon and Tachten. So it says like this: Sheba'ifan aleph yesh chiluk ben Elyon Aveda b'Inyane Kedusha leTachten Aveda b'Inyane Ha'olam. Think about every single day in your life. In the first Eifin, when I have to go to work, I'm spending less time with the Eibishter now. I'm distancing myself from the Eibishter. I have to deal with a guy at work. I have to put my concentration and try to figure out how to organize different things in my business. What am I doing now? Chas v'shalom kivyachol, forgetting about the Eibishter a little bit, not forgetting Chas v'shalom, but I'm not focusing on the Eibishter, and I'm busy now with kashmistika things, with things of the natural world, and I'm dealing and I'm working in a system of the laws of business and what works and what doesn't work, al pi seichel, al pi teva, I'm distancing myself. And if it's a person that's doing the avodah of sheishes yomim ta'aved, what's the ratio in the best case? 6-1. Yeah, sheishes yomim ta'aved, the Torah tells you. You have to sweat and put your whole thing. And there are some people that they puts them in that even Shulchan Aruch says on them, Perek echad shachs, perek echad arvis, and he's not mevatel Torah, even if he learns just one halach in the morning, one halach at night, and the entire rest of the day is busy working. Yeah. So if somebody finds himself in that matzav or anywhere in between, he feels like he has a yerida. He's a yerida for him. The majority of the time in his life, he's spending away from the Eibishter. Now, what he has to do, you have to keep body and soul together. This is what it says in Torah for some odd reason. Sheshes yomim ta'aved. So I have to do the yerida. I don't have a choice. Some advantage we will gain by having this yerida lamata. Yeah, the nefesh will achieve some ilui, whatever it is. But what's the whole story? That we're in a compared to being with Kedusha, you have to call it a bad place, and we're involved with negative experiences. In other words, things that are disconnected from the Eibishter. Now, of us through this, we'll be able to get at this one point of light. There's going to be a Yerida Tzedek Aliyah. We're going to accomplish something. That's one way that a Yid could live his life, and that's the story of somebody who's interested in Elam Haba. That's the story of somebody who thinks that Yiddishkeit is a beautiful thing, and he's serving the Eibishter not for Kavanas Atzmos. He's serving the Eibishter because he thinks, you think that guy, that athlete, he changed the world. You think that scientist who discovered this, that, or the other, he changed the world. No, I'm changing the world. I'm making Gilui Linkus of the world. I have a much better life. It's shame to sein a Yid. I eat for my reward in Elam Haba or for my accomplishment in this world. It's the best thing to be a Yid. So this guy's life is sorry and miserable because the whole life is about his madregas. The whole life is not about atzmus. It's about being mamshech elikuz, accomplishing things in this world, even though they're the highest things, they're the best things. Amshachas gilui likus in the world. How could you knock it? But the point is that's this person's agenda. And then there's a elin and a tachten. There's the times when he's in Gan Eden, and there's the times when he's in this world. And when he's in this world, it's not kashmak. It's a yerida nervasa, a yerida for a tzerech aliyah. But what if you have a different type of a Yid? A Yid, not a different chasam, there's no two types of Yidin. But what if the Yid does his Aveda in a different way? Here's another way that the Rebbe tells us we could do and we should do our Aveda. This is an Einay Ella. He has no Indian. He seems to be very interested in putting on tefillin. He seems to be very interested in going to work and earning a living. So he says Einay. He doesn't. Why is he doing it? Because he wants to fulfill what the Eibishter wants him to do. The Eibishter wants to have a dira b'tachtenim. So sometimes for a dira b'tachtenim, I have to put on tefillin. Sometimes for a dira b'tachtenim, I have to learn Torah. Sometimes for a dira b'tachtenim, I have to push it, go to work. Why? Because when a Yid goes to work and he does his Aveda according to Shulchan Aruch, so he's being Bengala Elikus, he's making a dira b'tachnaki Elikus, he's making a dira b'tachtenim in the place of his work. Azay, where would there be a dira for the Eibishter? In the shul, in the Beis Medrash. In the tefillin, there would be a dira for the Eibishter. In the Torah, there would be a dira for the Eibishter. But this Yid realizes that the Eibishter wants a dira b'tachtenim. B'tachtenim means also in the business world. B'tachtenim also means in music, in art, in everything that a Yid might find himself, in medicine, in accounting, wherever a Yid is involved, the Eibishter, that's part of the Eibishter's world. That's part of the Tachton where the Eibishter wants to be revealed. And it's with that feeling that he does his work. He walks out of the door every day and he says, now we are going to make a dira b'tachtenim in real estate. We're going to make a dira b'tachtenim in accounting. We're going to go make a dira b'tachtenim in schlepping boxes in a warehouse. No matter whatever it is that he's doing, he says, I'm making a dira b'tachtenim for the Eibishter right now. And that's what he feels. So such a person, he doesn't have a yerida. Because these are tremendous words that you won't find in many other places or in any other places. There's no difference between Aveda Binyani Kedusha, Letach and Aveda Binyani Eila. There's no difference. if he's doing inyanim of kedusha, or if he's doing aveda in inyanim ha'elam. Ubemela, what happens to the person who's doing such an aveda? How's his experience? Ha'aveda lamata eina inin shel yirida. It's not a sad story. It's not a story of being distant from the Eibishter, of being disconnected, of losing focus on the Eibishter for a certain amount of his time. No, it's not a Yerida. Kivin Shenir Gishba, he's able to feel in his office, in his work, in his shopping in the store, in his eating, in whatever it is that he does, he feels on the Kuda HaKlal, is Klal, the Kula Shebechol, in Yonah Aveda, the Shaka, the Mamash, the Manas HaAtzmus, there should be Dira B'Tachtenim, and all of these activities. And he's bringing atzmus into all of these things, and therefore it's not a yerida. So if you think about every day of your life, and you say to yourself, how does that day feel? Am I jealous of the guy who gets to sit in Beis Medrash the whole day? First of all, you always have to say that. Yeah, I'm so happy that I get to be involved in Elamah. The Rebbe has a mimer about that also. That was the time of Kerech. We call them Kulam Kadeshim. If the Kavanah is in Gashmius, then why do we need Rabbanim? Why do we need Torah? Let's just focus on mitzvah. Not against that. The Yid Mitzad is Hergeshtake. He has to want to learn Torah the entire day. No, but he sees B'Pel Mamash. This is not the work that the Eibishter gave him. To him, it's clear that's V'Darkei Yechpatz. Hashem Mitzad Kever Kenon of V'Darkei Yechpatz. The Eibishter told him now to go and work for a living. So if you grow up in other circles, which we're not going to mention, who I specifically, but let's say I was farbanging with a bunch of teenagers in the summer. And I was telling them, yeah, good for you. So you sit and learn Torah the whole day, so you think you have value. What about your fellow Yid who's a plumber? What about your fellow? What's his value? So he says he supports Torah. Yeah, he supports Torah. So in other words, he himself, in his word, it's not Meshem Tzadik Ever Kanon of Daka Yechpatz. No, he's a lo Yutzlach. He doesn't have a rich shver, or he doesn't have a head to learn Torah. So because of that, he has to support Torah with his money, but he's nothing. Or, but what's the emes? The emes is Meshem Tzadik Ever Kanon. The Eibishter said, you be a plumber. And you could also take it conversely. The guy who's learning Torah, he's on the top of the world. His yeshes stinks from here for worse than the Staten Island, garbage place over there. What's it called over there? Yeah, it's the shmekt. His yeshes. You can't walk anywhere near him without feeling the yeshes of his Torah. Why? Because I've been a Baal Torah. Look how great I am. If a person understands, Sai, the person sitting in the basement, this is the Sikh of Deva. I'm not making this up. Say she said, I think it's Purim Toshan Chavav. Besides for the garbage dump and whatever it says, if the person understands that the Eibishter is the one who says you be a Rosh Yeshiva, and the Eibishter says you be a plumber, so then I'm making a dira b'tachtein. So maybe inside my hergesh I want to be in Beis Medrash. He doesn't say, yeah, if inside his hergesh he has to be. But if he sees that the Eibishter wants you to be a plumber or an accountant or a lawyer or a salesman or a programmer or whatever, a drummer, a musician, whatever it is. You see, this is what the Eibishter, he didn't give me the opportunity to do other things. This is where he led me to do. So you understand, this is not a Yerida. That's the Nakud over this. It's not a Yerida. Because the Eibishter gave me the job to make a Dira B'Tachtenim in this part of the world. With my music, I'm making a Dira B'Tachtenim. With my sales, being a salesman, whatever work it is, with my programming, I'm making a Dira B'Tachtenim in this part of Elam Hazard. It's not a Yerida. It's not a Yerida. Because Mitzad Atzmos, Tachtenim, the whole game is in Tachtenim. At a minimum, you can say there's no difference between Elyonim and Tachtenim. So why is it? It's not a Yerida. But now the Rebbe says like this. Okay, so you understand that? It's a whole other way. It's a whole other way. Like I said, the Rebbe takes it further over here. There's a sikh in Simchas Torah. The Rebbe says that Yoni ha'elam atzmam hem elikus, something like that. I don't know that's a little further than it's over here. I have to talk to people who know these Yonim a little more. But the Rebbe takes it further over here than almost in any other place that I ever came across. But David says like this. So Yid wants to serve the Eibishter at this level where it's only about, there's a condition over here, right? Like we said, it can't be about his Gan Eden. If it's about his Gan Eden, so then when he's busy earning his Gan Eden, he's in a very sorry state. As much Torah as he's going to learn over here, it pales Lagabi the Torah that he's going to learn in Gan Eden. He has to be completely dedicated to the Eibishter. It has to be about Kavanas Atzmos. And if you think it's easy to accomplish, if you think that you're doing it all the same Shemaim, well, it doesn't even have to be a bad test. What if you see somebody, he's suffering, he's not succeeding in Parnasa, or his kid is ill, or whatever it is. A person should ask himself, am I capable of saying, I'm taking all of the schar, my ganze Elam Haba, and nicht my ganze Elam Haba, all of the schar and Elam Haza. I'm not going to come to you ever and say, help me have Parnasa now, because yesterday I learned to Maimer, because yesterday I davened, help. I'm not going to say no, because all of that I'm giving for this other person. If you could say it, then you're taka serving the Eivshter Shem Shemaim, you have no interest in that. But if a person wants to say it for real, and he finds that he can, which that's where I'm holding. Yeah, to give up, I don't know why, because as much as I would like to think that the Shem Shemaim, but not enough Shemaim. Not enough Shemaim. Spana Yeshus von der Mensch. Verbringen von Chovchesh von heutiger bis Chovchesh von next year. So what does he say? So how are we supposed to do this? So he says it's found out one thing. A person has to put a focus on bittul, and the more he puts a focus on bittul, the more he'll be able to be connected to this idea that there's no difference between Elin and Tachtin, and it's not a yerida, and it's all about kavanas ha'atzmos. And that's the continuation of the pasuk of Meah Brachas. In other words, until now in the Bible, we only explained bracha. We said that the bracha is the klolos kol ha'aveda, right? Until on a davar gashmi. But why Meah? Why 100? What's 100? So I'll explain now why 100 is critical to do this aveda of dira b'tachtenim, of gili atzmas in this world. So it says like this: this is why you have Meah Brachas. It's explained in the Ma'amorim that there is being miyasad this Ma'amir on, that it says in the pasuk, what's the Eivshter asking of you? Kim liras Hashem is a continuation of the pasuk. But the Gemara says, Al tikri ma elo Meah. Don't read it as ma, rather read it as Meah. And they ask in the Drushim, how did the Gemara get to adding a aleph over here? It's a strange thing. It's explained that what we want to do is we want to be mamshech likus into this world. We want to take the aleph and be mamshech into the world, and the only way to do that is through ma. So therefore, we say you have to start with bittul, and if you'll have bittul, then from that you'll be able to be mamshech the aleph, the yechidah shalem into the world, and that's why ma turns into meah. So kamavur ba'adrushim shemeah hu ma b'tesefes aleph, ma hu inin habittul v'nachnu ma, and that's how a yid has to do his aveda and eifin of bittul. And if he'll do a ma, if there'll be a ma, then you'll end up with a meah. Validei habittul dema mamshechim ha'alef, you'll be able to be mamshech the aleph v'chines hakeser. I'm sorry, I said Yechidah Shalom, the aleph represents the keser. Meah it turns into meah. Shimshach begila lemata alidei habrach, you'll be able to be megala the aleph and keser down here into this world through the aveda of bittul. Why? What's the beer? And this I don't think is explained in the other Ramon that there was miyas in the Maimon. What's the connection between bittul and being able to be mevat and being able to mamshech keser and make a dira b'tachtein? It says like this: since a yid does his aveda, it's not bittul, not because of his own yeshes, his own mitzvahs, his own greatness. It's pash the kabbalas oil. In this is miskala that's a manasham. When he does his, which is not the Atzim, which is what's doing the Aveda. So it turns out that the Etzam and Neshama is what's doing the Aveda.
But it's bringing out the
No, he's going to explain. He's a drop different, a whole different. What's the Etzam and Neshama? What's the Etzam and Neshama interested in? That's all the Etzam and Neshama cares about and knows about. Which that's the Nekudah Klos of all Inyan Aveda Kavanas Atzmos. The Rebbe says like this. I'm not going to get into. I don't understand exactly the mechanism. I'm saying
you're reaching the castle.
Yes, I'm saying, but what's the Rebbe saying? So the Rebbe's talking to me and you. Yeah, Rebbe's not talking to Eisel Hamler, and the Rebbe's not talking to Philip Parachet. Yeah, so what's the Rebbe telling us over here? To have a complete bittul, where, like I said before, I push it. I'm giving up my entire Elam Haba, Elam Haza. Yeah, I never come to the Eivshter and I say to the Eivshter, please, I'm struggling now so badly. Do me a favor. I learned to Rambam for the past year. Just a little favor. I just need. Just so I could pay this bill. Yeah, I'm not holding by there. I've been finished in the back of my head. I think the Eivshter owes me something. That's what I'm holding. If you come to the Eivshter, you owe me not. So I think what Deb is saying, that even if a person is holding in that level, yeah, I stayed up, I didn't go to bed, I kept my shoes on, I kept my coat on, I was sitting on the couch with the Rambam. I stood, I sat, I walked, I washed my face in cold water, I didn't go to sleep. And you want to know why I didn't do Rambam? Because I was busy running to Manhattan to help somebody who got stuck in his car, and punked on the way back. Somebody needed a delivery of food to the hospital, and I couldn't finish Rambam. And you think I would say, okay, I could go to sleep. I earned going to sleep without Rambam. No, I stayed up and I finished Rambam. And I'm not going to even tell the Abster the next day when I need to pay a bill. And let's say I didn't earn money that day because of all of my mitzvahs. So I didn't earn money, and now I'm behind. And I'm not going to come to the Abster and say, Abster, give it to me, please. I'm asking, not a chutzpah, but I think I earned it. So even if somebody's holding there, still, there's another side to him. What's that other side to him? Is Etzem HaNeshama. While it may remain that I didn't become Isaac Homler, but there's another part to me. That's Etzem HaNeshama. And if I do whatever I could to serve the Eibster with Bittul and Kabbalah Soil, so at least this other side to me also exists. It's also part of my world. And then I'm also doing it Etzem HaNeshama. So maybe I couldn't reach the highest levels and have no yeshus, and it's all about the Eibster. But I focus on Bittul. My whole life I tell myself I understand the importance of Bittul. And do mitzvahs mitzat Kabbalah Soil, not because I love it, not because it's beautiful, but mitzat Kabbalah Soil. So it's not the Eibster wants. So that's Megala, that's my neshama. Part and parcel of the way I serve the Eibster is an expression of that's my neshama. It's an expression of that's my neshama. So now you're already in this place of Milo Mata Kulam Shavim Kavanas Atzmus Tira B'Tachtenim. And when you go to work, it's not the Yerida, it's already you're serving the Eibster in the Tachtenim. There's not, like in the Lashon of the Rebbe, there's no difference in chiluk. That's the part I'm saying, Moshe. I don't know if I understand. Is that what the Rebbe is saying, or is the Rebbe saying, no, I have to change myself completely, and I have to become the Isaac Homler? Is that what the Rebbe is saying? They have to be mevat themselves to the extent where it's such a complete bittul, and only then could you say that the Avodah is Mitzad Etzem HaNeshama. I'm not sure.
What he's saying is that in that level, when you connect it to Atzmos, when your Etzem Neshama is connecting, where's it going to Meir? It's going up. It's connecting to the Atzmos of the Eibishter, to the Ratzon of the Eibishter.
Yeah.
So there's no difference with them. So when you have that bittul, you could connect. You could have to do it.
Oh, so it's in that part that I get a little lost. Understand? That's what led to my whole train of thought. Because it doesn't say the Kimmel Shav Dasim Mitzad Bittul VaKabbalah Soil.
Yeah.
Why does he continue from that Shabbat Miskala Etzem HaNeshama? The Chora, if he doesn't divide him Mitzad Bittul and Kabbalah Soil, so it's all for the Eibishter. It's not for him. Where did the story of the Etzem HaNeshama come in?
Then the Etzem HaNeshama, which is the Etzem HaNeshama is there's nothing. It's not doing it
my
for
question
any
is, but my question is
reason.
But my question is, why do I need that? I thought you already bottled. I may be learning something wrong.
I think the bittul brings out the Etzem HaNeshama.
That for sure that it brings it out. But why couldn't they ever leave it by Bittul and Kabbalah Soil? It's a pshat. Okay, whatever. Whichever way, our marching orders are clear. Yeah, don't serve the Eibishter with Bittul and Kabbalah Soil. Yeah, not because you think that this is your game, and not because you think that you'll be rewarded, not because you think it's beautiful. It's like, it's about time that we learn the Ma'ir L'Siyam and Shakela. Yeah, they ever discuss Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai. And Rebbe says Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai was worried. What was he worried? The day that he was passing away, well, I'm not going to spoil it. We'll learn it inside of Mitzvah. But he was worried that maybe it's nice to be Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai, and that's why he did all of those things. And you tell me, is it not nice to be Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai? You remember 2,000 years later, you bring Chachma Yavne v'Chachameh when the Beis Mikdash is destroyed. You get to talk to ministers. Rav Yochanan ben Zakkai, the Bein Shlem. Yeah, you make takonis that you didn't keep ganz klal yourself forever and ever. I mean, it's nice to be Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai was a little worried. He said, maybe I'm Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai because it's nice to be Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. And that was very troubling to him. So I'm saying this is Dev is telling us, that's a bittul. Don't do it because it's nice. Yeah, to be this Lubavitcher, this Chassid, this Yid. Do it because of Bittul and Kabbalah Soil. That's Megala, that's Etzem HaNeshama. And once that's Etzem HaNeshama is Begilu, so now you're already in this other place where there's no chiluk ben Eli and Latachta. You go to work, you're not disconnected from the Eibishter. It's Kavanas Ha'atzmus over here. You're making a dir b'tachtenim. It's Pashat no different than the alien than being busy with Torah. Okay. So now we could already finish answering all of the questions that
Actually,
we
it's
had
higher
earlier.
than being busy. When you do
No. Now you just fell in the trap. There's no difference in El and Latah. Everything is b'shaveh. Torah is tzad kavanas atzmas.
I'm saying, literally,
If a person finds,
yeah, says this week he said that in the mitzvah, dafki and gashmis, should be gashmis, a plumber doing and he stops working. He is the one that's actually bringing down atzmus.
Yes,
It's higher than Torah.
I tried to live with that Nakuda myself. I'm not arguing with that Nakuda. I think over here they were saying something different though. And that's why the Rebbe over here doesn't say that word. The Rebbe says over here that it's Kavanas Asos and Chiluk ben Elyon Letachtim. Everything is b'shaveh mamash. If you make that distinction, so then you're still in a Yerida. You're saying the plumber is in a Yerida. Narvas, him and only him.
Can make Torah Tupsuchan Dafke and Shnai Mechs in the palace, and then one of them is the shoreline.
Yeah,
and that's where in halacha, that's where they have to mamash.
Yeah, but how do you mean to say it? I'm not sure which way you're going with that. So you're saying, is there a Yerida? Is it an inning of sheker? And what you're saying, but dafka over there.
But that's dafka.
Okay, so that's one word.
That did it b'tachtonim.
So okay, but
the
still
low of the low.
Yeah, but if you find that more valuable than a person who gave the Eibishter gave him the job of working in the Beis Medrash, so by you there's an Elin and a Tachton. Or about your Elin and a Tachton, you have a different scale of how to measure Elin and Tachton, but there's still an Elin and a Tachton. Over here, they're saying a different part of the and that's why in all the other places you don't see Ein Chiluk ben Elin and Tachton. You won't find these atheists with Ein Chiluk ben Elin and Vayihyu Chayei Sarah Tachton Vayihyu Chayei Sarah. In all the other places, there's a Chiluk. Even with Tzad yeah. But I'm saying in other places, it's going to say that go and work in the Tachton. It's a Tachton, but it's not about what's nice for you. It's about what the Eibishter wants. So go work in the Tachton. Over here, they're saying over this, it's this shit. There's no difference to the person. He doesn't feel that his going to business is better than going to the Beis Medrash, and the guy in the Beis Medrash doesn't feel that he's better. Everything's b'shavah. The Eibishter wants this. That's it. This is it. That's it. There's nothing else. That's how I understand it. Okay, so with this now we could answer all of the questions that we left open. That he repeats. First, never mind the repeat. What's the Shnei Chayei Sarah? And we said before, Shnei Chayei Sarah. That we already answered earlier. No, the Shana and Shom we already answered because the Meya and the Estim are still in the Ilam of Achdus. They're still in the place of Achdus. But now he's going to say that Shnei Chayei Sarah, was it a separate point or was it the Shnei Chayei Sarah itself? So he says like this: Shnei Chayei Sarah einoi inim b'fnei atzmai. Thereby concludes, unlike we said earlier, that the Shnei Chayei Sarah is an inim b'fnei atzmai. He says no, it's not inim b'fnei atzmai. Shemali g'non chokes to meir shana v'esr shana v'shav shana ela heima kuf chav zayin shana atzmom shekulan shavan l'teva. This Shnei Chayei Sarah is taka, the 127 years, like the Pirush HaPashut. And this is so beautiful the way the Rebbe connects the deepest concepts with the Pirush HaPashut. It's only if you reach the deepest place can you do that. Can you connect the highest with the Pirush HaPashut? So it's just like in the Pirush HaPashut, Shnei Chayei Sarah is the 127 years. So too in the Pnimius Yanim, the Shnei Chayei Sarah is also the Kuf Chazayin Shana. He's going to explain. In the beginning of the pasuk, when he goes through Meya Shana V'Estim Shana V'Sheva Shana, like we explained from Rashi, he's saying that Meya has an ilui through. How does it get an ilui? Through Chav. When you're mamshich it into the Meichin, right? Shazo in the Bas Kuf Bas Chav. How you poile ilui taka? 100 is greater than Chav, but you're poile ilui by being a mamshich into the Chav. Ubas Chav Bas Zayin. So this is all describing that you did the Tzedek Aliyah. The Meya is higher than the Chaf is higher than the 7. Narvash, you're going to have it, you did the Tzedek Aliyah by being Mamshich the Meya into the Chaf, it's going to be Kibbas Chaf. You're going to have an Aliyah. You're going to be Mamshich the Chaf into the Sheva, so it's going to be Kibbas Sheva. You're going to have an Aliyah through this Yerida. That's at one level. And that's the first day for Aveda. But then when a Yid reaches the second level of Aveda, where it's all about Kavanas Ha'atzmos of Dira B'Tachtenim and everything is B'Shaveh, because of Shnei Chayei Sarah. Now we move beyond Me'ah Shana V'Estim Shana V'Sheva Shanim. We moved on to Shnei Chayei Sarah. What is this? A kol sugei avodah de mea shana. No matter what avodah the yid is doing, the avodah of mea shana keser, the avodah of esim shana meichin, the avodah of sheva shana midas, which, like I said before, includes the peil mamash amshach into this world. Begashmi is him shavin l'teva. They're all equally good. Why? Shekol in yanam, every single type of avodah hu lahashlim kavanas ha'atzmos. There's no difference between them. They're all one good thing. What's this one good thing? Kavanas ha'atzmos. Shehi b'chol inyan avodah b'shava, which kavanas ha'atzmos finds itself equally in every area of avodah that the yid finds himself. It's an interesting article, but we're gonna skip it. It's a little edel, and we're running out of time. It's a langa artist, like a shmaka artist, but it's okay. We'll leave it. Okay, so now we understand the shavin part of the word. Now the Rebbe is going to explain also the teva part of the word. We don't understand it. Shavin and teva, they're good, but what the Rebbe is going to show, there's a message over here in the teva. V'shleisif ba'bir l'kulan shavin l'teva, v'meisif, what's pshat l'teva? Sheteva, re'emes l'etzem l'makar l'teva, teva l'heit. It's known from Kabbalah Sarizon, Al Teva brings in Tanya, that the Eibishter is called Teva, is etzem HaTeva, and Teva HaTeva l'heit. So teva is re'emes in the atzmus of the Eibishter. However, not just the absence of the Eibishter, the way it remains not begilui or not nimshach. So it says nimshach umisgala v'nishmas shcholech v'chmiso. Why? She chelik l'kami mal mamash, because the neshama of yid is a chelik l'kami mal mamash, and therefore you can have a hamshach and a gili of atzmus in a yid's neshama, because we know the klal that chelik min ha'etzem shal yad tefsim be'etzem. Ha'etzem kshat tefis b'mksas hat tefis b'kulei, and this is the lashon in other places. So when you have a yid whose neshama is a chelik l'kamim al mamash, in other words, it's part of the etzem. So therefore, it's connected to. It's one thing. It's pashat. It's the whole etzem, and therefore, and that's the idea of teva. Okay. So v'kashar aveda mitzad etzem haneshama. How do you do your aveda? You do your aveda with teva, with the etzem haneshama, like he said before. He says, oh, in a bittul b'kabbalah soil. That's the idea of bittul b'kabbalah soils. And then what do you accomplish? You accomplish teva. So then all of the inyanim of the Aveda are equal, and in what way are they equal? That they're all connected to Teva, they're all connected to Atzmas. That all matters of Aveda, even when he's involved in worldly matters, even when he's in the DMV or on the subway, over there, it's part of being Mamshich Gili of the Etzem HaTeva of Atzmas Lamato. In other words, making a dira batachtenim. Okay, so Shnei Chayei Sarah is a whole new level, but it's the Kuf Chav Zayin Shana. It's a whole new level because it's serving the Eibishter mitzad kavanas ha'atzmus, and therefore it's not separate from the 127 because the Meah is kavanas ha'atzmus, the Esim is kavanas ha'atzmus, and the Sheva is kavanas ha'atzmus. It's all kavanas ha'atzmus. And then it's not only is it shavin, but it's shavin l'teva. How does the yid do this aveda? By connecting to the teva that's in him. What's the teva that's in him? The chelik l'kamim mamash, the etzem haneshama that's within him. He connects to that through doing his aveda bebitul. And when he does that, so now he's doing the aveda for teva, for atzmos, for dira b'tachtenim, and not for any giluim, not for any other reason. Make sense, Ronnie?
So far, yes.
I know you don't disagree with what David says, but does it?
I'm listening, and I
You understand? Let's try to say it in other words. What Dev is saying is that a yid could serve the Eibishter because he feels that it's a good thing to do, or because he understands that it's a good thing to do, or because his parents told him, or because his family told him, or because he enjoys doing it. And that's all beautiful. That's all very good. But when a yid does it for those reasons, so then in different experiences in life, sometimes he feels more connected, and sometimes he feels less connected. When he goes to work, he's less connected. When he's in shul, he's more connected. Right. David says there's a whole other way of doing the Aveda. And that Aveda is not because my parents told me, not because I enjoy it, not because of my friends, not because of my community, not because it's beautiful. But the Eibishter wants me to do this right here, right now. And that includes going to work. The Eibishter wants me to go and work and teach music. That's what the Eibishter wants me to do. And when I do that, but I do it like a yid. I show up like a yid. I do it. I don't overcharge. If somebody pays me too much, I pay him back. I work hard because he paid me. And the halacha says when somebody pays you, you have to work as hard as you could for them, like Yaakov Avinu. I do it, and I don't compete with others. I don't take away business from others. I do it like a yid.
I don't complain.
I do it with a smile, the simcha. Complain you have to. It's very, but I do it. So what am I doing now? I'm making a dira b'tachtenim in music. I'm making a dira b'tachtenim in music lessons. I'm making a dira b'tachtenim. So then it's all teva. Then it's kol and shavin l'teva, and that's And how could you do that? Only if you're bottled to the Eibishter. Because if you have any other interests, it's not. So it says be bottled to the Eibishter. Do everything for the Eibishter. And then you won't have any downs. There won't be downs because you're connected to this place in the Eibishter where there's no such concept as down. It's all Eibishter. It's all Atzmos. Okay.
I understand.
Okay. Okay, good. Vayihyu Chayei Shekimin Shebimenu Elul Nishmu Kol Ma'aseinu V'Avedaseinu B'chol Prat Inyanim D'mei Shana V'Esrim Shana V'Sheva Shana. I usually like to find a connection between the Vayihyu Chayei part of the Maimer and the Havana of the Maimer. In this case, I wasn't able to. But there is, and it will be for the next time we learn the Maimer, hopefully we'll understand. But it says like this: since in our days we finished, in our times, now, the times that we're standing in, we already finished all of our Aveda. In all of the details of Meir Shana and Esrim Shana and Sheva Shana, in other words, we finished the entire Aveda. Not only did we do the Aveda of all of these Madegas, but we did them in the Eifen that it's all connected to Atzmos. Like the Pidikre already announced decades ago. That we already polished the buttons. We're all standing ready to receive and to welcome Mashiach. So once we finished the Aveda, we did all of the work that's needed that Mashiach should come. Right before the Pidikre Rebbe pronounced that we finished all of the work, Mashiach couldn't come yet because there were certain things that had to be done. The world wasn't ready. We had to fix things. We had to make the world ready. But now the world is already ready. So what's the only thing that's left? Actually revealing Mashiach in the world. And that we already did also. For tens of years we're screaming at Masay. It says, how long could one scream at Masay for? We're already screaming it for so long. So therefore, Tave take from Yad Agula Mitzvah Shlem al Mashiach Tzidkenu. May the that immediately the Gula Mitzvah Shlem through Mashiach Tzidkenu will come to us. And then we're going to have already a whole other story of Meir Shana V'Esrim Shana V'Sheva Shana V'Shnei Chayei Sarah. V'az Yiskala Einin to tell this Yitzchak, which is the next parsha that follows Chayei Sarah, which Kfish Matzchil Nikras B'Teira B'Mincha, when they said the Maimer was on Shabbos, which on that Mincha they would continue to read tell this Yitzchak. Like it says that when the time of Yitzchak, now we call Avram Avinu. Then we're going to say Yitzchak Daf is going to be Yitzchak Avinu. Kiven Sha'ataning V'Atzchak Yitzchak Shanasa Lemesin Kol Meshchas Managos. Why is Mashiach connected Dafka to Yitzchak? Because when Mashiach is going to come, there's going to be a tremendous joy and a tremendous delight by the Eibishter. There's going to be a tzchok, like we just learned from Such Shalnika, that Yitzchak is Hashem the tzchok, Hashem the happiness. The Eibishter is going to have the happiness, and it's going to be revealed, the happiness that the Eibishter has in our Aveda throughout the entire time of Galus. Which is why also it says in Novi that after then our joy will be complete and full. And then we'll have already Meir Shana in a higher way. And now that it connects to a different meaning. So Sai, I think Deb is making out of 127. I think what Deb is saying is that it's in of Torah and mitzvahs. That Meir Brachis is l'chura the in of mitzvahs, and then so that's the mitzvahs part of 127. Vein in the Chav Zayin Shana of 27. That's Torah. Shrem is Gam leChav Zayin Eis Torah, which if you add the 5 end letters. What the language, yeah, the end, whatever you call them in English. But if you end the end letters, the Schlossmem and the Langenun,
it's more.
It's 5. Matzapah. Look in the order. So it becomes 27 letters. So 27 is a reference to the Eishes HaTorah. So then Kimich calling Yana HaTorah mitzvahs you Tachlis HaShlemos. Since Sai the Meah, which I'm understanding to be the mitzvahs, and Sai the Chav Zayin, which is David says clearly is the meaning of Torah, they're going to be on a higher level. They're going to be Tachlis Hashem's mitzvahs tzeinecha. It's going to be the way the Eibishter wants them properly.
You see Meah is mitzvahs, right?
Yeah. It's a higher level. 100%. The question is by your hergish, what is it? Right? Your hergish has to all be equal. The Terech Hadashim Iti Teitze, and it's going to be a Terech Hadashim Iti Teitze. So side the mitzvahs are going to be in a higher level, and side the Torah is going to be in a higher level. So we have the Meah 127. Time Torah Sheiskala Las Lavi B'Teirasa Shel Mashiach. Specifically because it's going to be not only the Poil Mamish Torah, but also the reasoning of the Torah behind the things that we could see now. Including the Torah of all our Rabbeim until the Torah of the Rebbe Rashab, Chav Cheshem, which is today. And Ubnei Yechida Memale Mekame, who's a very strong continuer of his work because he's Bnei Yechida, and therefore he's Memale Mekame and a whole other Eifen of the Fidik Rebbe. Shakitz V'Rama Shech Niafar V'Ein Bereisham, which all of the people have departed will awake, and they will stand in their head. And then we will have from them, we will hear from them a new Torah. Chidush Gam L'Gabe HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kivyachol. This Chidush is also going to be L'Gabe HaKadosh Baruch Hu at Kivyachol, as it's explained. Al Derech L'Amazan Tzchuni Banan Tzchuni, which in Chassidus is explained that L'Gabe the Madrega of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're Megala something even higher than the Madrega of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then even higher than that, we're going to go to an even higher level. So we're going to reach the level of Me'iti Daika. Not only that it's higher than the level of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's going to be at the level of Me'iti. But this Gili of the Rabbeim is not going to be in an Eifen that they have to teach it to us. They're going to be at Megala in such an Eifen that everybody will be able to understand it and see it on his own. They're not going to teach one another. Everybody will know not only the deepest secrets, but even until the level of Eisi Daika, the Eidvu Iker Shekol Zeh, ye take it from a Yad Mamish, that all of this should be literally now. And when we Mamish, when we say literally, we mean literally, right? That's how you type Mamish. When I say literally, I mean literally. Well, that they ever finished this Maimer with his initials 3 times. Mem Shin, Mem Shin, Mem Shin. It's not on the knee.
Shalom, when that time comes already, and when the best of English will be coming down.